Gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q3 FY21 conference call of GRAVITA India Limited, hosted by Valorem Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on the touch-tone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Sonpal, CEO at Valorem Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. My name is Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. We represent the investor relations of GRAVITA India Limited. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings conference call for the third quarter and 9 months of ended of financial year 2021. Before we begin, I would like to mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's earnings conference call may be forward-looking in nature. Forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to the management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings conference call is purely to educate and bring awareness of the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. I would now like to introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings conference call. We have with us Mr. Yogesh Malhotra, CEO and Whole-Time Director, Mr. Vijay Kumar Parikh, Executive Director, Mr. Naveen Prakash Sharma, Executive Director, and Mr. Sunil Kansal, Chief Financial Officer. Without much delay, I request Mr. Yogesh Malhotra to give his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anuji. I thank you all for participating in the company's Q3 financial year 21 earnings conference call. GRAVITA India Limited is a leading global non-ferrous secondary metal and one of India's largest secondary lead metal producing companies. The company is engaged in the recycling of used lead-acid batteries, cable scrap and other lead scrap, aluminium scrap and plastic scrap. GRAVITA has 11 strategically located recycling facilities in Asia, Africa and Central America with a capacity of 121,800 tons for lead, 19,200 tons for aluminium and 16,800 tons for plastic as of Q3 financial year 21. GRAVITA sells recycled products such as pure lead, lead alloys, lead powder, oxides, aluminium alloys, PP granules, PET flakes, both domestically as well as to international customers. Further, the company has entered into back-to-back buying of scrap from battery recycling companies like Amara Raja Batteries, HBL Power Systems, and selling recycled goods to them. Also, it has entered into rupees 305 crore worth of contracts with Sorin Corporation, which is a subsidiary of Korea Zinc, and Luminous Power Technologies. GRAVITA has a unique, deep-rooted scrap collection network which helps it to collect scrap globally at competitive prices, which is the biggest entry barrier in this business. Now, I would like to summarize the key financials for the third quarter of financial year 21 on a consolidated basis. Our revenue from operations for the quarter stood at rupees 373.6 crores. Our EBITDA in absolute terms for the quarter were 32.1 crore and EBITDA margin stood at 8.6%. The net profit of the company stood at rupees 15.7 crores, which increased by 27% on a year-on-year basis, and PAT margin stood at 4.2%. For 9 months of financial year 21, our revenues were around 971.4 crore, which were flattish on a year-on-year basis. Our EBITDA in absolute terms increased by around 19% on a year-on-year basis and rupees 81.2 crores, and EBITDA margin stood at 8.36%. The net profit stood at rupees 31.2 crores, which was an increase of 51.5% on a year-on-year basis. The PAT margins stood at 3.21%. On Q3 financial year 21, our operational revival was driven by a change in raw material mix of lead, which changed by 11% year-on-year in Q3 financial year 21 from remelted lead, other scraps to battery scrap. The domestic battery scrap collection increased by approximately 82% year-on-year in Q3, resulting in logistic cost savings, which also reduced the working capital cycle. During the quarter, the lead value-added and customized product witnessed a growth of 38% on a year-on-year basis. There were overall better operational efficiencies with improved recoveries and low processing cost, and the overseas production increased by 45% on a year-on-year basis, which commands higher margins. Aluminium sales saw a volume jump of 6% year-on-year from 925 metric ton to 2050 metric ton in Q3 financial year 21 and in Q3 financial year 21. The sales mix in international market as compared to the Indian market also increased by 34% in Q3, and the aluminium's average sales price per ton increased by 13% year-on-year basis. The overall plastic production also increased by 33% in Q3 financial year 21 on a year-on-year basis, and sales quantity increased by 37% along with an increase in sales realization by 5% in Q3 financial year 21 on a year-on-year basis. Going ahead, the company plans to focus on optimizing its overseas manufacturing facilities along with improving its scrap collection in India to help improve its profitability by reducing logistics cost of importing the scrap in India and also reducing the working capital cycle. Additionally, the company continues to focus on more value-added product and customized product in the product mix to get better margins. With this, I would like to now open the floor to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The first question is from the line of Raju Baswani, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I would like to know, the company has won 2 major orders in the last few weeks. So could you please explain the scope for work for these orders, and also what kind of revenues will these add to our company, and what kind of margins also will these orders command?
So recently, company entered an agreement with one of the international trading companies, that is Sorin Corporation, which is part of Coyazing, and another one was Luminous. So as far as margins are concerned, they are in the range of what we have projected or what we have produced in last quarter. But if you see, the 80% of our company's business is flowing from 70% of the customers.
So the margins would be in line with what we are getting right now. We mentioned that the EBITDA margins would be around 12 to 14% going forward. 14 rupees. 12 to 14 rupees per kg. Hello?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, what would be the revenue guidance for FY22, if any?
So we are on line with around 20 to 25% growth going forward in the next 2 years.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anurag Patil from Roha AMC. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Patil. Your voice is breaking up.
Just a second. Hello, is it clear now?
Much better. Thank you.
Yeah. So are you planning any major capex in the coming year? If you can elaborate on that side.
Yeah. So we have mentioned this earlier also, that we are not planning any greenfield projects in the coming year. But there would definitely be some strategic capexes that we do in terms of expansion of certain facilities that we have. So total capex would be in line of around 25 crores for the next year. No greenfield project is there. Sorry?
Okay, understood. So, sir, you just mentioned in your opening comments that your focus will be more towards the value-added products. If you can just elaborate on that side, what exactly you are planning to do?
So current around 40% of our business comes from, I'm talking about the lead segment, 40% of the business comes from value-added or customized product. And our plan is to take it to around 60% in the coming 1.5 years, which include customized alloys, lead sheets, lead powder, and other products that gives us higher value or higher margins.
Okay. And sir, a basic question. So whatever recycling facilities you have, are these fungible in nature? Means can these lead acid recycling with plants can be used for other kind of recycling, or are they very customized in nature?
No, these plant and machinery are specifically used for a particular product. Like for aluminium, we have different plant and machinery. For lead, it is different. And if we plan to do some other recycling, it would be different. So these are not plant and machinery that can be utilized for other products. In lead, definitely you can use it for different alloys, but that is for only lead alloys. You can't use it for any other metal.
Okay. And one last question, sir.
Yes.
The government is planning with this vehicle scrapping policy. So how can it benefit us, if you can elaborate on that, sir?
Yes, new ELD policy will be effective from April 2022. So then government will remove those commercial vehicles at more than 15 years. So the scrap generated from that will be more of ferrous scrap in nature. Batteries will be certainly coming in a structured way. So that availability of scrap will become better because it will come from an institution or some big collection center rather than it is going via retail.
Okay, sir. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is on the line of Gokul Maheshwari from Auriga Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. I had two questions. One, how are you seeing the aftermarket in the battery segment currently? And the second question was, do we see business moving to the bigger players like you or Exide and the unorganized players? How are they doing currently in the market in the aftermath of COVID? Thank you.
In fact, if you see in last 9 months, the battery segment has shown a phenomenal growth of double-digit figures. And this growth largely came from the aftermarket sales only. Although auto sector has shown the positive trend in last 1 quarter, so this trend we foresee as a continued trend. Although there may be some hurdles as far as the lithium-ion battery is concerned for a market specific or a category specific. But overall, these companies are going to project double-digit growth in times to come. And if you see the market trend in India, in Indian scenario, the way these battery companies are becoming more serious about collection of their battery scrap back and ensuring the recycling in legitimate manner or the formal recycling, we foresee the availability of this scrap will be in better position. Companies like GRAVITA, we are already working with the Maharaja, and we are very, very closely coordinating with companies like Exide and Luminous also for collection of their scrap. So as far as availability is concerned, it will be better. As far as informal sector versus formal sector, we foresee that within next 1 year, there will be a drop in informal recycling, and the sentiments are showing positive trend.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhiral Shah from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This opportunity. So you talked about the value-added product, which is now contributing 40%, right? And within 1 to 1.5 years, you are targeting it to 60%. So what is the EBITDA margin difference between value-added product and the commodity products?
So the EBITDA margins would be around 3 to 5% more in case of value-added products, depending on what market we cater to and what products we make.
Okay.
So this current the EBITDA margin of 12% is a combination of these two value-added product and normal products. So if we increase the product mix to value-added products, these EBITDA margins will grow.
So basically, we enjoy approximately 12 to 14 rupees a kg for our blended business. But if we specifically talk about the value-added products or customized products, it is in the range of 15 to 16 rupees, approximately 16 rupees a kg.
Okay, so with this contribution going up, can we expect double-digit kind of a margin for the overall business?
Even in terms of percentage you're talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, there are 2-3 things. One is our overseas business, which commands higher margins. So also increasing the volumes from the overseas business. So that is taking us to come 8 to 9 to 10 to 11% of EBITDA margin, and also this contribution higher margin from the value-added and customized products. So taking both the things together, yes, we will be double-digit in next 2 years.
Okay. And sir, of late, we all have seen that commodity prices have moved up, primary, like aluminum and all that. So do we see, the R product as being a recycle, the demand can go up because of the, higher primary prices?
No, in fact, the acceptability of recycling products like lead, it is increasing day by day. So we cannot say that the recycled price will be higher than primary one, but as far as usage are concerned, the people awareness is concerned, the acceptability is growing very fast for recycling products.
Okay.
So, but in case of plastic, definitely there is a chance that the prices would be higher than primary plastics, which is the case in some of the developed countries.
So what would be the difference between recycle, prices and maybe the primary one?
So actually, these two works totally independent of each other. So in some cases, demand and supply is very important. So in some areas, primary prices are higher. In some cases, secondary prices are higher. So in developed countries, these are running independent totally. Whereas in India, the secondary plastic prices would be around 75 to 85% of the primary prices currently.
Okay. And so lastly, as we don't have much capex for next 2 years, so what kind of debt reduction, we are thinking of with the incremental cash flow?
Okay. So basically, current debt is approximately 250 crore, and so 2 things we are doing. One is the capex will be lower in next 2 years, and also we are reducing the working capital cycle as we are increasing the domestic procurement for the Indian plants. So both the things taken together, we will be reducing the debt, but we are also growing the volumes. So overall debt EBITDA will improve, but absolute debt will slightly come down, but significantly it will not come down. But definitely with the additional volumes, we will be not requiring the significant debt. So debt EBITDA, basically debt equity ratio, which is currently 1:1. So this will in next 2 years it will come down to 0.7 to 0.75.
Okay, and sir, out of the overall 240 to 50 crore debt, how much is the working capital debt and how much is the long term?
So approximately 40 crore is the long term debt and approximately 210 crore is the short term debt.
Okay, and sir, in our business, typically what is the fixed asset turnover ratio?
Fixed asset turnover ratio is approximately 8 to 9x. So whatever capex we do, approximately 8 to 9x is the revenue generation from the capex.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Amnish, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello sir, good morning, and you have produced great set of results. I have just two questions. So, in regards to lead, largely the lead production is
sorry to interrupt.
research.
Sir, we are not able to hear you clearly.
Is it better now?
Slightly better, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So, my first question is like, what is our competitive advantage in terms of maintaining this market leadership? Because lead is largely recycling-driven business. And the second question is like, what kind of impact are we going to see because of the migration of batteries towards electric vehicles?
So to answer your first question, there are various layers to the market competitiveness that we have. First of all, our procurement network is one of the biggest competitiveness that we have. We have scrap yards across nations, which help us in procuring the raw material at a cheaper price. The second is our operations, which are spread over 3 continents, which enable us to. And in India, we are present in on pan-India basis in West, East, South, and North. So this enables us to strategically collect the raw material and service the customer very efficiently. Currently, we are the only company which has more than one lead plant in India. And the third and also equally important is the ability to produce customized and value-added products in lead segment, so which gives us better margins than the competition.
Understood. Thank you. So my second question was regards to the electric vehicles and batteries. Like, what would be the impact we are going to see?
So even in lithium ion, I mean, first of all, whenever the lithium ion will come, it will come to recycling after 8 to 10 years because the life of lithium ion battery is longer. The second thing is that even in lithium ion batteries, you need lead acid battery for starting, lighting, and ignition purposes. So even when the lithium ion cars will come into India, even the current cars that are coming into India or used anywhere, you need lead acid battery. So it will not reduce the current recycling of lead acid batteries, but it will give us another opportunity to get into recycling of lithium ion batteries also. So from company's perspective, it's a good sign. But as I mentioned, that it will take some time for the lithium ion batteries to come to a stage where recycling starts taking place. So it is still some time there, but we are already talking to some technology partners from outside India to get into recycling of lithium ion batteries as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Suman Bhatia from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. So you had mentioned in your opening speech and in your earnings presentation that there has been a very healthy growth in volumes and also realization. And also value-added products have improved a lot, which all should have improved your margin profile, right? So yes. Why is it that it has resulted in sales on a YOY basis still there is no growth or margin improvement whatsoever? So any reason for that?
Yeah, basically, last 3 years back, we established a plant in Chittoor, Andhra Pradesh, where we were getting because when we established the plant, definitely 1 or 2 years is a stabilized period, and if we get some incentives based on the reimbursement of some taxes from the state government, so that comes as a stabilized as a stabilized compensation for the initial period, initial hiccup, whatever we get. So during that period, we were getting till last year we were getting that incentive from the state government, which was in this quarter 3 of 1920 was approximately 4.5 crores. So that incentive is not there in this current year, and even after we are not getting that incentive and we are operationally better. So we are still at the stabilized margin of 12 to 14 rupees, which is the stable margin for us for this year. So that incentive is compensated from the operational efficiencies which we have mentioned.
Yeah. So if we take that into account, so what would be the normalized EBITDA margin going ahead?
So
your target EBITDA margin?
Yeah, normal EBITDA margin is taking the current country mix because we enjoy the better margin in case of overseas business and we enjoy better margins in case of value-added and customized product. So taking the current things in picture and that prices also. So we are targeting approximately 12 to 14 rupees a kg is the stable margin for us.
Yeah. And sir, one last question. So what is the current utilization levels for all the plants? Yes.
So basically, current quarter 3 if we talk, so the 82% is the capacity utilization for the lead business. And if we talk about the total capacity utilization for all 3 segments, it is 71%. For quarter.
And what has been the peak utilization level?
So peak utilization can be 80%. We can take optimize 80 to 85% we can take.
Understood. So that was helpful. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. The next question is on the line of Avnish, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
One last question. In regards to the mix change between domestic and international, and also the value added versus commodity, where do you see these ratios being in a couple of years' time?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Yes, my question is, sorry, sir. Yeah. My question is, in 2-3 years' time, where would you expect our domestic versus export mix? And the second is, where do you expect our value added versus commodity mix?
Sir, if you're talking about lead, I think we mentioned already that the value-added products would be around 60%. Current levels are around 40%. So we are planning to increase the value-added products from current 40% to 60% of the total. And in terms of domestic versus international, currently it's a 50-50 ratio. And we believe that there will be an increase in domestic demand going forward, and but there will be no major shift. So around 55% would be domestic and 45% would be international. But that could very well change, sir.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Sanjot Bhavskar, an investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. So the aluminum segment and the plastic segment has done quite well in quarter 3. The revenues have also increased and the EBITDA margins have improved significantly. So what has caused the same?
In this aluminium business, we have started more volumes from our overseas locations. So we are manufacturing over there and exporting directly from those locations. So as compared to Indian locations, those have better margins. So that ratio has increased in favor of overseas activity in case of aluminium alloy manufacturing. And in case of plastics,
the plastic market was not conducive for the past 2 quarters because of the COVID. So it has now turning up again. So we expect better margins going forward.
Okay. So also the contribution from these segments is still very small. So what is the company's plans to increase this, and what kind of contribution can come from them in the overall sales in the next 3 to 5 years?
So basically, currently we are doing around 88 to 90% business from lead, and the balance 10% comes from other segments. Going forward for the next 2 years, we expect it to go to around 20% for other businesses and 80% for lead.
Right. So, just a follow-up question. So what kind of volumes are we looking at this year from Amara Raja, Luminous and Sorin separately?
In fact, as in my first comment, I mentioned that we are getting around 70% business from the 15 customers. So these three customers will give us a close to 30 to 40% business of GRAVITA.
Right. Okay. So finally, I would like to ask a final question, saying that also will the scrap from these clients be sourced from India only, and will their goods be manufactured and exported from India or from overseas facilities?
In fact, in Amara Raja, we are working on two business models. One is that Amara Raja itself is providing scrap to us, and we are making finished products for them. But at the same time, we are having separate contract with Amara Raja, where we are importing the scrap, or we are having options to buy from local market also and supplying them finished products. In case of Luminous, it is only one kind of contract presently, where we are importing scrap or procuring from local market and supplying to Luminous. Similarly, we are also working with Exide for this kind of arrangement.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Srimant Dudoria from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
A few questions. Can you share the EBITDA per kg number for various segments this quarter?
Yeah, EBITDA per kg is for lead it is 12,400, and for aluminum it is 22,600, and for plastic it is 1,600.
Plastic, it is positive 1,600.
Positive 1,600.
Okay. So the arrangement with the Korea Zinc, has it commenced from the current quarter, which is quarter 4, as the contract was for calendar year 21?
No, this is for calendar year 21. It has already been commenced from this month itself, January onwards.
Would be the total contract would be equally split across the quarters, or there is a kind of front ending of the the supply that we have to give to Korea?
The volume from April onwards will be more, and in quarter 4 of this financial year or quarter 1 of this calendar year will be slightly lesser, but more business will be flowing from April onwards.
April, June and September quarter will be more.
Yes.
In March, June and September quarter, the volumes will be more.
Yes.
Okay. And given that size of the company of Korea Zinc, is there a scope for further increase in the volumes from these initially contracted volumes?
No, it is our choice. We have the possibility to increase the volumes also, but since we are balancing among all customers on customer segment, so this is the best we could do, and we have the options to increase the contract also. This is on seller choice. That means if we want to increase the volume, we can increase the volume also.
Okay. And this 8,000 tons would be sold from the Indian plants, or will it come from the African plants?
So to Indian plants, because we are having plants close to the port, like one is in Chennai port, Chittoor plant, and second is close to Mundra port. So largely selling from these two plants.
If you could also highlight on the the debottlenecking led capacity expansion plans, what is the present status and when those capacities could come?
Most of the greenfield projects are now over. We have a capacity upgrade for aluminium in Tanzania and Tanzania basically, which has been done. We have expanded our capacities in Ghana, which has been done. Chittoor is now working at 100% capacity. So there is no major changes here, but we are, as I mentioned, that we probably will be expanding some capacities in some of the locations in the coming year. So that will start happening. But there is no major capex planned for those capacity increases.
Okay. And the Gandhidham plant shift to Mundra, is it still in work in progress or anything?
No, actually, we stopped the work last year because of the COVID situation. But now we have started it again from January itself, and we plan to partially shift it by June end.
Okay, as in partially, as in.
So partially, I think there is some expansion also and there is some shifting also. So expansion basically is for value-added products. We are putting up a red lead plant there for export purposes, lead sheet plant for export purposes. So these plants will be put up by June, and the balance refining that we are doing in Gandhidham will be shifted afterwards. Once these plants are under operation, they are in operation.
First, you will set up a kind of a new plant, and then you will ship the Gandhidham unit.
Yes, it's kind of, yes.
Okay. What would be our full year tax rate this year and next year?
So as we have increased the profitability from the overseas plant, from aluminium in Tanzania, lead in Tanzania, and Ghana is also contributing a lot. So, and these are zero tax rates. So the blended tax rate for overall the company came down from earlier 23%. Now it is coming down to 18 to 20%. So 18% we can take as a blended tax rate for the group going forward.
Okay. And this quarter specifically, the other income was negative.
Basically, other income is contributing whatever we have, whatever we are hedging. So there is sometime on the forward contract, sometimes we gain something and sometimes we lose something, but it is all part of the operational, the subset of the operational buy and sell we do. So that is included in the other income because of the accounting system. So otherwise, we have considered it in the operational EBITDA, adjusted EBITDA only.
Because whatever we are gaining or losing here, corresponding gains and loss are there in the operational income also. So it's part of the income only, or loss.
So the other expenses should have the equivalent opposite number?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct.
What is the forex impact in the other income number?
For forex, okay. Forex is 1.3 crore is the forex gain.
Out of the other income number of which is about say 1.4 crores minus 1.4 crores, how much is related to the the hedging which we do?
So for the currency hedging, it is 3.72 crore positive, and for the metal hedging, it is 4.37 crore negative. So net is reflecting in the negative other income.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone wishing to ask a question, may please press star and 1. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to Mr. Yogesh Malhotra from GRAVITA India Limited for his closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for attending the earnings con call for Q3 financial year 21. We hope we have answered all your queries. In case you need any further information, you are welcome to contact our investor relations managers at Valorum Advisors, and we would be happy to answer all your queries. We look forward to seeing you again next quarter. Until then, stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of GRAVITA India Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.